Before fully expressing my strong feelings on this issue, I quote some ancient texts containing wisdom and historical perspective along with my comments. King James Bible, Proverbs 31:3. Give not thy strength unto women, nor thy ways to that which destroyeth kings. This shows that though men were expected to listen to their mothers, no women were to have authority over them. If a man gets involved with a woman who makes more money than him, or he allows her to be the boss, this violates Proverbs' sensibility. So does a man who would marry a woman without making her sign a prenuptial agreement in this day and age, He sets himself up to get divorced and give up his power through alimony payments. King James Bible, Proverbs 31, verse 10. Who can find a virtuous woman? For her price is far above rubies. This means that virtuous women are exceedingly rare and hard to find. Verse 11, the heart of her husband doth safely trust in her, so that he shall have no need of spoil. So the virtuous woman is depicted as a married woman, not a single mother, independent businesswoman, loner who never separates from her parents, etc. Verse 12, she will do him good and not evil all the days of her life. So, she will be with him for life and therefore will never divorce him. Verses 13 to 15. She seeketh wool and flax and worketh willingly with her hands. She is like merchant ships. She bringeth her food from afar. She riseth also while it is yet night and giveth food to her household and a portion to her maidens. In other words, the virtuous woman dedicates herself to grocery shopping, cooking, and household chores. Verse 16, she considereth a field and buyeth it. With the fruit of her hands she planteth a vineyard. This does not mean she started her own business. Rather, the field became a small side extension to the home where the woman works at home as a gardener. Verse 17, she girdeth her loins with strength and strengtheneth her arms. Though the man should be stronger, this dispels the idea that women should be weak, dainty, or skeletal fashion models. A real man should not fear a woman who has some physical strength. Verses 18 and 19, she perceiveth that her merchandise is good, her candle goeth not out by night. She layeth her hands to the spindle, and her hands hold the distaff. Again, the virtue of diligent work within the home. Verse 20, she stretcheth out her hand to the poor, yea, she reacheth forth her hands to the needy. If a woman is kind to strangers, she will likely be kind to her family, and if not, likely not. I will simply quote verses 21 to 30 without my comments, since they should be self-explanatory. She is not afraid of the snow for her household, for all her household are clothed with scarlet. She maketh herself coverings of tapestry, her clothing is silk and purple. Her husband is known in the gates, when he sitteth among the elders of the land. She maketh fine linen, and selleth it, and delivereth girdles unto the merchant. Strength and honor are her clothing, and she shall rejoice in time to come. She openeth her mouth with wisdom, and in her tongue is the law of kindness. She looketh well to the ways of her household, and eateth not the bread of idleness. Her children arise up, and call her blessed, her husband also, and he praiseth her. Many daughters have done virtuously, but thou excellest them all. Favor is deceitful, and beauty is vain, but a woman who feareth the Lord, she shall be praised. Last verse, 31. Give her of the fruit of her hands, and let her own works praise her in the gates. This implies that the husband is regardless the head of the household, who has the authority to give to or allow his wife certain things or not. Here is a text that shows basically the exact opposite of what Proverbs 31 said. That is how not to be. American Standard of 1901 Bibles, Isaiah chapter 3, verses 11 to 12. Woe unto the wicked! It shall be ill with him, for what his hands have done shall be done unto him. As for my people, children are their oppressors, and women rule over them. O my people, they that lead thee cause thee to err and destroy the way of thy paths. So this way, devoid of virtue, had the family structure ass backwards. Children over women over men. Verses 13 to 14a. Jehovah standeth up to contend, and standeth to judge the peoples. Jehovah will enter into judgment with the elders of his people, and the princes thereof. So everyone must eventually face God for how they have lived. Some may even face some consequences for how they have lived before this present life is over. Verses 14b to 15. Ye have eaten up the vineyard, the spoil of the poor is in your houses. What mean ye that ye crush my people and grind the face of the poor? Saith the Lord God. The direct opposite of the virtuous woman caring about and for others. Verses 16 to 23. Moreover, Jehovah said, because the daughters of Zion are haughty and walk with outstretched necks and wanton eyes, walking and mincing as they go, and making a tinkling with their feet, therefore the Lord will smite the head of the daughters of Zion, and Jehovah will lay bare their secret parts. In that day the Lord will take away the pomposity of their anklets, calls, crescents, pendants, bracelets, scarves, headdresses, ankle chains, sashes, perfume boxes, amulets, rings, nose jewels, festival robes, mantles, shawls, satchels, hand mirrors, fine linen, turbans, and veils. Though women today tend not to have all these accessories, how much time and money do they spend on makeup, superfluous pairs of shoes, and unnecessary different outfits? Some women wear animal furs, which animals were butchered just to make these women feel stylish. Other women express their haughtiness by being scantily clad in public to pander for male attention, which they then turn their nose up at. Verse 24, and it shall come to pass that instead of sweet spices there shall be rottenness, instead of a girdle a rope, instead of well-set hair baldness, and instead of a robe a girding of sackcloth, branding instead of beauty. So all women have only two options, die young or live to become old, wrinkly, and ugly. So they would best work on their personality, ASAP. Verses 25 to 26. Thy men shall fall by the sword, and thy mighty in war. And her gates shall lament and mourn, and she shall be desolate and sit upon the ground. That is, men in a society who fail to control the women will suffer for it. And if the men suffer and fail, this in turn hurts the women. I personally conclude that the average woman is like the Isaiah 3 woman. And if a man cannot find a Proverbs 31 woman, yet still insists on being married, he better have like I said before, a prenuptial agreement in place, be making more money than the woman, and have the house all in his name. That is to prevent things from getting too bad, especially in this day and age, where feminism is destroying man-woman relationships. For a full understanding of feminism and man-woman relations, see my other videos on these issues.